Three, two, one.
Hello, as always, I am Cosmic, and today we're going to be taking a first look at the Doom multiplayer, which is currently in closed beta. Doom is currently in development by ID Software and is being published by Bethesda. Now, Doom is technically the fourth main installment of the Doom series, however, it is a reboot of the franchise. Now, like I said, everything that you see here is in beta and as such is subject to change. Now, the multiplayer, interestingly enough, is also being developed in conjunction with Certain Affinity, who are a team of developers who worked on many of the Halo games and Call of Duty games. Doom is a highly anticipated release, and I've had some reservations myself about the title since its original E3 reveal, particularly about the single player side of things. However, this beta was a good chance to check out the multiplayer side of things to get a feel for the overall combat in the game. Now, there were two modes on show, one being a traditional team deathmatch mode and the other was Warpath, which is basically a domination mode, but the catch is that the capture area is always on the move and you have to constantly follow it around the map. The game has opted to take a page from modern shooters in having players select a loadout pre-match instead of having weapon pickups like in most traditional arena shooters. Personally, I feel that having a loadout system rather than weapon pickups was a mistake, as weapon pickups in an arena shooter has a certain rhythm to it that allows you to balance the game very easily. With the loadout system, however, everyone can have rocket launchers from the get-go, which seems less satisfying than having one launcher on the map available and being a mass slaughterer when you pick it up. One thing I do like about the loadout system is the sheer amount of customization options available for both armor and weapons. The game allows you to really customize your character, even if many of the unlocks look like they were ported out of the Halo series. No doubt Certain Affinity's influence there. The last major thing in the loadout system are hacks, which are essentially cards that you play each time you respawn that give you a certain power-up, such as seeing the enemy health bars, seeing the demon rule spawn points, or starting you off with some extra armor. They work very similar to Titanfall's burn card system, which is something that doesn't really appeal to me in any way. Once you're in a match and have selected your loadout, you can also choose a demon to transform into once a demon rune drops in the match. Now, the beta only had the Revenant to choose from, but there'll no doubt be more upon release, and once the demon rune drops in a match, should you be lucky enough to be the first person to pick it up, you'll transform into said demon and be able to lay waste to the enemy team. Alongside the two modes were two maps, Infernal and Heatwave. Both maps were designed really well and they were lots of fun to play. Health and armor pickups lay everywhere, ranging from small boosts to large ones. Levels have a really nice verticality about them and there's plenty of places to jump to using the double jump feature. I really loved the movement and the flow of the game. It was fast paced, double jumping to ledges and pulling yourself up felt fast and it was very satisfying. The entire multiplayer feels very Quake-like, and it's easy to draw a lot of comparisons between the two, especially in the movement and level design. There is, however, a giant elephant in the room: the gunplay. Some classics do make a return, like the Super Shotgun. However, the guns, thus far, are massively disappointing. The audio-visual feedback for weapons such as the plasma rifle make the weapons feel weak and pointless compared to others like the rocket launcher. But this isn't the most pressing issue. The major issue is that ID Software have opted for a Borderlands-style damage numbers feedback system and thus back-end stats to determine damage. I mean, what? What is this about? This literally means that when I point blank shoot someone in the face with a rocket launcher, they have a maximum of 55 damage instead of being in squishy bits. This has thus far created guns that are simply better statistically than others, especially in certain situations. And not only this, but it makes every single gun feel weaker than it should. There's no lethality other than the Ghost Cannon pickup once it spawns, or becoming the Demon, which are simply the two best things in the game. The Demon and the Ghost Cannon are great, and they do allow for some impressive comebacks and frantic close quarters battles trying to get the rune first, but the core gunplay doesn't feel good as it should. I mean, if you took those two things out, you'd have serious problems here. Frankly, the gunplay should match the rest of the game. It should be fast paced. It should be brutal. When I rocket launcher someone mid-air in the face, I should see a rain of blood, not a whole person shooting back at me. The entire combat system doesn't seem geared for high skill based play compared to that of the recent Unreal Tournament or even to the old Quake games. It's as if ID have tried to combine a Quake arena shooter with elements from modern style shooters like Titanfall and Borderlands, and the end result has ended up being something that feels really disjointed. The unsatisfying gunplay in the multiplayer alone leaves me with severe apprehension about the game's single player, and if they have the whole FPS RPG mechanics in the single player mode, it's going to end up more like a Doom themed Borderlands game, which is worrisome. It's odd that this is the way ID have decided to go for the multiplayer, and I certainly feel that a more traditional Quake arena style shooter would have just fitted perfectly for the game. The way it currently stands, I have a hard time imagining that the multiplayer will have a high volume player base for any length of time. If you take away the Demon Rune mechanic, and you're potentially left with no real reason to play Doom multiplayer over something like Unreal Tournament or any other shooter for that matter. Ultimately, it will be interesting to see where Doom ends up upon release. After the multiplayer closed beta, I think that the success or failure of the title may well reside in the game's single player content, which again is worrisome in itself, as ID seem to have gone for more rock and roll style cool maneuvers than an actual cool gunplay story focused game, like something like Wolfenstein did, The New Order, where you just feel that was just a great shooter, it was a great game, and Doom doesn't seem to be even a Doom game anymore thus far, and it'll be interesting to see if the single player does make it a Doom game again, because just having demons in there doesn't make it Doom. Doom has a set aesthetic, it has a certain feel about it, and I wonder if the reboot is going to be just something that is unrecognisable to traditional Doom fans. And that is my Doom first impressions for the multiplayer closed beta. Thank you so much for watching and listening. Do like, subscribe and leave a comment, and I will see you next time.
Lost. Score limit reached. Victory.